Now, an Uber driver is arrested for the murder of 30-year-old Shanti Dixon, who was missing this weekend. The driver confessed to killing Dixon.
This is just disgusting all around, and it did not have to happen. This is a family that's been ripped apart. This woman is gone.
She was just 30, a devoted mother of two, texting her mom that she was heading home from work in the early hours of September 8, 2024. She told her daughter, "Love you," before slipping into an Uber. Less than 24 hours later, Shanti Dixon was found naked, shot in the head, and dumped in a wooded alley near the home she had just moved into. At 3:34 a.m. that morning, Uber data shows she entered the ride. She'd worked a late shift at a club in Indianapolis, exhausted and trusting, the kind of routine, ordinary drive millions take without thought. But her driver, 29-year-old Francisco Valadez, first spun lies that a black man tried to rob and shot her in the thigh, that he cleaned blood from his car. Investigators say he changed his story multiple times before finally confessing to raping her in the back seat and shooting her when she fled or insulted him. Then, police say, he moved her body behind a concrete barrier and, shockingly, attempted to violate her corpse. By the time police arrived, 2 of Shanti's cell phones lay near her body, keys to unraveling the horror. Her family had already begun the desperate search. Her mother, Rise Dixon, now haunted by the phrase, "I keep waiting for her to walk through the door," told reporters with tears in her voice, "You picked up a stripper, thought no one would care. We do, and you can't do that." If you believe stories like this matter, don't wait. Hit subscribe now, because if this can happen to Shanti, it can happen to any of us. And if you're still watching and haven't subscribed, at least have the courage to share in the comments why you won't. Shanti Brescia Dixon was 30 years old, a mother of 2, Dashun, 13, and Chianti, 10. She was the eldest sibling, a devoted daughter, and someone known for lighting up every room she walked into. Her mother, Rise Dixon, remembers her as selfless, always putting family first. She was quiet yet full of energy, a caring friend, an unshakable source of support. Shanti had recently moved into a new home in southeast Indianapolis, working long nights at a local club to support her children. She danced to provide a future, making sure birthdays were celebrated, school supplies were bought, and hugs were plentiful. She wasn't just a mother, she was a guardian of hope. Rise Dixon told reporters through tears, friends called her fun-loving, always laughing, always caring. She was a mama first, the party came second. People couldn't meet her without remembering her. At 3:34 a.m. on September 8, 2024, Shanti ended her shift and ordered a ride via Uber. It felt routine, safe, familiar. Most people don't think twice before getting into a car that arrives with a smile and a license plate. This time, it wouldn't be routine. Her last text to her mom, "Heading home now, love you." Her text to her daughter, filled with reassurance, signs that she'd be there by morning. Then, nothing. By sunrise, Shanti was missing. Her mother had raised the alarm within hours. Detectives say Shanti carried 2 cell phones that night, both found near her body. Her family knew the passcodes and worked with detectives to trace her last steps. Police confirmed the Uber ride. One small detail, a $5 tip left for the driver, would later become chillingly ironic. Investigators learned that Shanti's driver, 29-year-old Francisco Valadez, had given several conflicting accounts before police say he cracked. He claimed first that a black man tried to rob them, that Shanti kicked herself out of the car. Then, he said, she was shot in the leg. But video, GPS data, and Uber records contradicted him at every turn. Shanti's family began living a nightmare they couldn't escape. As her mother held vigil, the community gathered to remember a woman who literally couldn't be replaced. She didn't deserve this. Her children didn't deserve to grow up without their mother. If you're still watching and haven't subscribed, ask yourself, what's stopping you from standing with families like Shanti's? This channel tells the stories no one else dares to tell. At first light on September 9, 2024, Rise Dixon woke to a nightmare. No call, no word, just a sense of dread she couldn't shake. She had reached out to friends. She had checked hospitals. By mid-morning, she made the call to police. Her daughter was missing. Indianapolis Metropolitan Police confirmed a missing person report had been filed for 30-year-old Shanti Dixon, a mother of two, last seen ordering an Uber ride home just after 3:30 a.m. the night before. The chief later explained, by night, detectives already knew that the ride had taken place. Detectives pulled Uber trip data, phone ping locations, and GPS records. They confirmed Shanti's last known location was near East Raymond Street, heading toward Wagner Lane. Two phones, both belonging to Shanti, went dark sometime before 4 a.m. At the same time, community prayer and vigil spread online. A GoFundMe page went live for funeral expenses. Friends and strangers alike shared her smiling face with captions like, "Mommy," "Dancer," "Life of the Party." Then, at around 1 p.m., officers answered a call about a body near a wooded area behind a residence on Wagner Lane. What they found was horrific. Shanti was found naked, shot in the head, and dumped off even farther from where she lived. Her body had been positioned near a concrete barrier. Her phones lay nearby, silent, but telling. The coroner later confirmed signs of sexual assault, and investigators say evidence suggested attempts to move the body after death.
IMPD Assistant Chief Catherine Cummings addressed the gravity.
This is a family's worst nightmare. Women, girls, mothers have the right to exist freely in our community without fear.
The lead investigator called it disgusting and disturbing, words echoed by Chief Chris Bailey. Meanwhile, investigators were already turning their attention to 29-year-old Uber driver Francisco Valadez, who reportedly gave conflicting stories before admitting he shot Dixon in the back of his car during a sexual assault. Neighbors and friends insisted Shanti was settling into the neighborhood, quiet, caring, family-focused. One neighbor said,
"She just moved over here, seemed like a pretty good woman. She was with her kids and her little dog."
She thought she was just going home, and now she's a headline. If you're still watching and haven't subscribed, maybe this isn't the channel for you. But if you do believe these stories matter, hit subscribe. Otherwise, the comment section's open. Tell us why you won't. Francisco Valadez, a 29-year-old Indianapolis Uber driver, showed up at the police station after Shanti Dixon's body was discovered. But the story he first told officers would later unravel completely. At first, Valadez claimed he dropped Shanti off in a rough neighborhood when an armed black man approached their car. He said he shot Shanti in the leg and she fled. He told detectives he scrubbed blood out of the vehicle before calling police. But investigators didn't buy it. Surveillance cameras didn't show any robbery. Crime scene data showed no shooting in the area. Instead, police found blood smears and a bullet casing inside Valadez's Chrysler, which contradicted his version. Detectives pressed him again. He shifted his story, claiming Shanti had struck him in the head while exiting the vehicle, prompting him to fire over his shoulder in self-defense. But details kept falling apart under scrutiny. Finally, at the homicide office, Valadez confessed. He admitted that he had tried to force himself sexually on Shanti in the back of his car. She pushed back. He says she laughed at his body. He says he lost control and shot her in the head. Then he told the most chilling part. He dragged her body behind a concrete barrier along Wagner Lane and attempted to have sex with her corpse before fleeing the scene. Chillingly, when investigators pointed out Shanti had been shot in the head, not the thigh, Valadez said, "Okay, I shot her in the head. It was self-defense." But the crime scene told another story. They had her body naked, face down in the woods, shot in the head. 2 phones and her wallet were thrown nearby. Chief Chris Bailey called the case disgusting and disturbing, pledging to protect women's right to move freely in their communities. Assistant Chief Catherine Cummings added,
Women, girls, mothers have the right to exist freely in our community.
Valadez was arrested and booked into Marion County Jail. Uber confirmed he's banned from the platform, stating, "Our hearts break for Miss Dixon's family. The details of this act of violence are atrocious. We will assist the Indianapolis police however we can." If a driver with no criminal record can do this, imagine what your driver might be hiding. Subscribe now, because sometimes the only thing between safety and death is one ride and one lie. The day after Shanti Dixon's body was found, her family, her children, her mother, her siblings entered a grief that no one should ever face. At 30 years old, Shanti's light had been extinguished, but the shock only brought them closer. Her mother, Rise Dixon, described waiting every morning for her daughter to walk through the door. "Hey, Mama, what y'all doing?" she'd say, her voice echoing in empty hallways now. When WRTV asked how she was managing, Rise replied with trembling words.
My heart is saying she's going to walk through that door, but I know she's not going to walk physically through the door.
Dashun, 13, and Chianti, 10, lost more than a parent. They lost their protector, their provider, their champion. As friends and community members shared birthday photos, sports games, and dance recitals, the contrast felt unbearable. One side full of memories, the other filled with unanswered questions. The outrage spread quickly. At fireside vigils and online memorials, neighbors lit candles and released red balloons in her name. Crowdfunding pages drew thousands in donations to help with funeral expenses and to support the surviving children. Investigators urged witnesses to come forward. Uber confirmed that Valadez was permanently removed from the platform. Their statement read, "Our hearts break for Miss Dixon's family. The details of this act of violence are atrocious. We will assist the Indianapolis police however we can." Meanwhile, Assistant Chief Catherine Cummings addressed the city with urgency.
Women, girls, mothers have the right to exist freely in our community.
IMPD Chief Chris Bailey didn't hold back.
This woman is gone from the world unnecessarily by an evil act. No one deserves to be treated this way.
News coverage soon expanded beyond the tragedy to safety systems themselves. In Indianapolis, a former coworker, Shanita Kirk, launched On a Mission Transportation, a new service built on safety-first principles. She's pledged to use only trusted drivers, offer female-only trips, and include private escorts if needed. Advocates and safety experts echoed calls for change. They noted similarities to the case of Samantha Josephson, whose 2019 death in South Carolina led to Sammy's Law, federal legislation requiring enhanced rideshare protections.
Local Uber riders, especially women, began demanding features like in-ride audio recording, mandatory ID displays, and emergency alerts. It was clear that superficial changes weren't enough. Something had to shift structurally. Have you ever felt unsafe in a rideshare? What would you have done in Shanti's shoes? Let us know in the comments. And if you still refuse to hit that subscribe button, don't hide. Tell us why. We want to know. By mid-September 2024, Francisco Valadez, the 29-year-old Uber driver accused of murdering Shanti Dixon, sat behind bars in Marion County Jail. Court records confirm multiple charges: felony murder, attempted rape, attempted abuse of a corpse, each count sealed by the profoundly disturbing details investigators uncovered. At a preliminary hearing, Valadez appeared in shackles, entered a not guilty plea, and was ordered held without bond. The judge cited the severity of the allegations and the threat he posed if released. Prosecutors signaled additional charges could follow. Valadez remains in custody at Marion County Jail with no bond, reflecting the gravity of the accusations. As of mid-2025, there are no public records indicating that the trial has begun or concluded. No sentencing date has yet been reported. The case appears to be in pre-trial stages, pending legal motions, evidentiary hearings, and possibly delays, all standard in a high-profile felony murder case. Even without a verdict, Shanti's death has sparked a wave of questions about rideshare safety, systemic oversight, and corporate accountability. Why didn't background checks flag Valadez? Investigators note he had no significant criminal history, yet he reportedly carried and used a firearm during illegal activity. This gap raises concerns about rideshare vetting processes. Did Uber's safety features fall short? Although the company confirmed Valadez is banned and pledged cooperation, critics say enhancement like in-app ride tracking and rider verification remain too optional to prevent tragedy. How many other victims might be out there? Local drivers, advocates, and online commenters have questioned Uber's oversight after high-profile cases, including other violent interactions involving drivers across Indiana. Community leaders in Indianapolis have called for legislation similar to Sammy's Law, passed after the Samantha Josephson case. Local safety advocates want stronger ID checks, mandatory ride confirmations, and automatic alerts when rides deviate from expected routes. With Valadez's criminal history effectively ending in a jail cell, Shanti's family and supporters wait for a trial date that may define their clarity or their heartbreak. The process is long. Trials for murder can take months or years, especially when mental evaluations, plea discussions, and motions are involved. In many online forums, voices echo frustration over slow-moving justice. Some compare loosely to other cases where convictions took years and still ended with light sentences. In Indianapolis, community members say they're looking not only for justice in Shanti's name, but policy change to prevent this from happening again. Valadez is detained, but justice is not yet served. As the legal system churns through hearings and motions, the shadow of this case looms over the city, over rideshare platforms, and over every late-night worker trying to make it home. Will Shanti's children ever find closure? Will lawmakers act or continue to watch tragedies like this unfold? And how many other families won't find answers until it's too late? The courtroom is silent for now, but the questions, they're screaming. We tell stories like Shanti Dixon not to scare you, and not just to shock you, but to remind you. That ride home, the one you've taken 100 times, the one where you're just tired, scrolling your phone, hoping to finally put your head down, that ride should never be a death sentence. Shanti was a mother, a sister, a daughter, a friend. She worked herself to the bone so her 2 kids wouldn't have to grow up the way she did. She deserved rest. She deserved peace. But instead, she was left in an alley, naked, violated. And now her children have to carry that reality for the rest of their lives. The driver? He had a 5-star rating, no priors. He picked her up like it was just another night. And within minutes, everything changed. What this story proves is that you never really know. Not the person behind the wheel, not the hidden gaps in a billion-dollar company's background check system, not how close danger might be even when you're just trying to get home. If this story shook you, then imagine what her family lives with every single day. I spent hours, no, days, digging through reports, court filings, interviews, piecing together every detail to give Shanti's story the justice it deserves. Not just for clicks, not for views, but because stories like hers matter. And if you felt something watching this, even just for a moment, then don't leave without hitting that subscribe button, because this is the kind of content that actually takes everything out of me to make, emotionally and mentally, but I do it because someone has to. And if you're still watching, still hesitating to subscribe, then I'll ask you directly, why? Why not be part of something that honors real people, real pain, real truth? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear it. We all do.
Because if telling Shanti's story didn't move you, maybe you're not ready for stories that do make you feel something. But if you are, hit that button. Join this community. Stand for something that matters.